There's a lot of people that go to school for stuff and they're like, oh, well, let me just Google it real quick, see what Google tells me. What's going to happen when there's no fucking Google?
I have a few family members that they're not doing so good, and it sucks because like their kids are saying that, so that their kids are growing up thinking that that's normal.
Yeah.
Living that shitty lifestyle is normal.
Because I might not have a degree in the wall, you know what I mean? It says I went to university, but I have all these homeowners that I've been making happy.
We are closing the gap on 500,000 views on YouTube. But that's not the craziest part. The craziest part is that most of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. Do us a solid, smash that subscribe button and share it with a friend.
So today, guys, we got Abel Cisneros. He's the co-owner and founder of C&S Rain Gutters. Abel, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we always love having like Hispanic, Mexican-owned businesses on here. You know, empower the people, empower the
people, right? Yeah, well, you got one here today. So
there you go.
That's good.
I want to ask you. I want to see what your thoughts are on this. There's a big phrase of like, el enemigo de un mexicano es otro enemigo. Like, because sometimes we don't want other guys to do better than us and do more than us. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the phrase has been out for many, many years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it is that way, but I personally don't want to think that way. I want people to succeed. You know, I come from Mexico to here to have a better life, to have more opportunities in life. So if we can help each other out, why not? You know what I mean? We don't have to be enemies. We can always be helping each other out. I personally, it's not that I dislike that phrase, but I try not to put it in ourselves so much, you know what I mean? Because if we can help each other out, why not? You know, I have kids, and I always want to make sure my kids understand we all the same. We can help each other out, and we can succeed together. So it's not just about one race, you know what I mean? What it is and what it isn't. So I personally think on that phrase that sometimes it can be definitely not in our vocabulary, so people don't think that way. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, It's all pretty much, I guess, the people you hang out with too. If they're thinking like that, that's probably you're probably around the wrong people too.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you see that, you know, you guys have friends and we have friends and we have a circle of people that we get around and you can feel sometimes that vibe, right? And you sometimes you try not to think about it, but because of that, sometimes you exclude people from your friendship, from your circle, because you don't want to be associated with that, you know what I mean? I want people who have ambitions in life, who have same goals I have, who they look for, you know, the future, what can it be for us, for our kids, for our friendships. So I want to make sure I'm around positive people, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you doing good, we doing good, everybody's great, everybody's killing it, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes, you know, business go down and then it kind of, you know, it doesn't take the speed that we wanted it to take, but it's okay as long as we just keep going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah, it's like people, like we hang around all the time. Like they want to see you do good, but they never want to see you do better than them. So it's like they're gonna talk good about you until you start doing a little bit better. Then they'll be like, este quien se cree, like.
Yeah. No, and you know, you see that a lot. You see that a lot in a lot of circle of people, you know what I mean? You see that a lot, but I try not to, like I seen it and I just try to like go a little way
avoid
from that.
that.
You know what I mean?
Why do you think people are like that though?
Why they are like that?
Yeah. Do you think it's just like they're not doing good in life and they want to pull other people down with them so they don't have to try as hard?
Sometimes it can be, yeah. It's the jealousy that people have, and like if I don't have these, why would you have to have it? What entitle you to have it? You know what I mean? But I think if you work hard for it and you can have it, why not? You know what I mean? Like I always encourage, especially my kids. I have 6 kids, and I always encourage them. Okay, you can do better than me, because our goal, my wife always says, I want you guys to be better than me. You know what I mean? So we always have the mindset. If we can encourage our kids to be better than us, will that happen? Only time will tell. You know, it's a lot of things that it comes in place, like the personality, how hard the kid will work, or the person, individual. But I think everything starts at home. When you create that environment and you create that vibe around your house, that carry on to the person when he gets older. So I think a lot has to do with where you thought when you are home. You know what I mean? If your family is that way, you'll turn out to be that way. But if your family ain't that way, then you'll turn out to be different. You know,
that's how I see that with my kids too. So it's like I have a gym at home. So like if I'm working out or doing something there, they'll come down here and they'll start doing stuff. Or I'll grab a book and I'll start reading or taking notes and stuff. And then I'll see them walking around. They have their book and they're reading. So like they see what we're doing, you know?
Yeah, no, they definitely do. I have kids, you know, and then my 16-year-old, my 19-year-old, my 6-year-old, my 11-year-old, and my 4-year-old. Sometimes you see them do things that Mom and I we do, but because they want to be like us, you know what I mean? Like they grab a notebook and then they start like writing, and then they go to the office and then they grab the phone like they talking to somebody. Yeah. If your mom is doing that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they all did that way, but they see that on us, you know what I mean? Like, and they reflect. We reflect on them what we are.
Yeah, and it also works negatively too, because I have a few family members that they're not doing so good, and it sucks because like their kids are saying that, so that their kids are growing up thinking that that's normal. Yeah, that living that shitty lifestyle is normal.
Yeah, and it isn't, you know what I mean? Like we all, I always, it's funny. The other day we did a job, and I'm always big on organizing stuff and have our house clean, you know what I mean, and all that stuff. And then my 6-year-old, we went to a house and it's just kind of like a mess, you know what I mean, like on the inside. And and my kid looks at it and said, "Man," you know. And then when we left, and then we got in the truck and we got out, I said, "Do you want to live like that?" He's like, no, I don't want that. I said, "Do you like our house? How clean it is and all that?" He's like, yeah. I said, "We got to keep it that way." You know, it doesn't seem like it is a big thing because it's only a 6-year-old, but they see those things, you know what I mean? My 11-year-old does the same. The 16-year-old does the same. So it's just something that you just have to, like, not push it in the kids, but keep doing it, consistency. And then the kid will see it, and he'll pick at it, and then he'll reflect it in his life.
Yeah. Hey guys, let's take a quick break from the podcast. We want to help business owners just like you stay competitive in today's marketplace. So for a limited time, we're giving you 10% off your next video project, whether it's a brand video, social media content, or ads. Just mention this podcast to get started. Let's get back to the show. Yeah. You said like your kids, they would see like you and your wife doing stuff like on the phone or notebooks and stuff. How challenging is it running a business with your partner?
It honestly is great. I can say, some people say, well, it's challenging, right? The hard part is sometimes to separate home from the business and our relationship, you know what I mean? So it is and it isn't. I love to have her around. Like she's like the person that I can leave and then I know things will run good, you know what I mean? And so does she, you know what I mean? So we support each other, and we trying to look at it, when it's business, it's just business. It has nothing to do with our love between each other, you know what I mean? So like we get home and then we try to like not do anything with the business. So it's just time with her and I, and then the kids, you know what I mean? Every now and then we do stuff in the office that we have at home, but if I'm the one who usually does that, and then if I do that, then she'll call me and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you know, and I kind of like close that part and then, you know, try to give it the time because it's important. You know what I mean? There's you have to separate the business from the personal, so that way you can see different sides, and you know, whatever you messing on it, you gotta apply to it. You know what I mean? I like to work a lot. I like to make money. You know what I mean? So if I can work every day from sun up, sun down, I would. But now that I have kids, my kids need my time, need my attention. My wife needs me, so I got to make sure I give those things to them, because if I don't, someone else will. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't want that to be the case.
We are closing the gap on 500,000 views on YouTube. But that's not the craziest part. The craziest part is that most of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. Do us a solid. Smash that subscribe button and share it with a friend.
Yeah, that's big. That's huge. But was it different maybe at the beginning? Because I mean, you've had your business for over 21 years. How were the beginning stages, like with your, because sometimes maybe if you didn't make payroll or something didn't go good, or there's, you know, this job didn't go as good, like the first couple months or the first year, was it like that too? Or
we mean the,
like you with your, like
with my wife.
Yeah, you and your wife, like in the business, because like now you got a team. You're saying you got 18 plus employees and stuff.
Yeah.
So now it's different. You can maybe step back a little bit and with stuff.
Yeah, the 21 years I've been in business, the last 9 years, my current wife now is the one that's been my co-owner.
Okay.
Before it was just all me.
Okay.
So for so many years it was just me. So when I made the transition from being me to have her in it, you know what I mean? It was a little challengeable, but I set out my mind to know that that's the woman I love. That's the woman I want to be with it. So I will not have my business to interfere with that. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
You kind of put that as a priority.
Yeah,
put that
my
first.
wife is always my priority.
It's family and then business.
Yeah. It's it's my wife, my kids, and then my business. Obviously, it's just you have to be able to define those things. You know what I mean? It's like love between a spouse and the kids. It's completely different. You know what I mean? So, but I fall in love with my wife. So, and I love it to this day. You know what I mean? Like, I fall in love with her every day. So, but because of that, I gotta make sure that doesn't interfere with our business. You know what I mean? And she's pretty logical, and when it comes to business, it's completely business. You know what I mean? We have arguments, yes. Sometimes we don't agree to this or that, but at the end of the day, we come to a conclusion, and it doesn't have to interfere with our love between each other. You know what I mean? Like, home is home, business is business, and we pretty, like, we try to make decisions that it creates us more. Sometimes it might seem scary a little bit, but we just kind of have a leap of faith, you know what I mean? Like, we just kind of make the decision and we move forward, you know what I mean? So, like, I didn't, sales guys. Like, before it was just me, and I had a couple guys, and we didn't really interact the idea so much to have sales guys. But beginning of the year, we brought a guy that had worked for us before, and we brought it into the office, and then she and I, we talk about it, and then I had this other friend of mine that I kind of targeted him. I was like, this guy can be a good sales guy, you know what I mean? So I talked to him, and he go ahead and went for it. So now we have a team that sells, and the other guy that is there as a sales guy, he's been with us for 5 years, so he was working in the field, but then he got older, and he's like, hey, well, I don't want to work in the field, my body's not feeling it. So I was like, okay, how about I'll put you as a sales guy, you know what I mean? Because he has knowledge in the field. Now you can help me here. So it's been working out pretty good. So it's, decisions that my wife and I, we make in the business, definitely in the last 9 years, almost 10 years that I've been with her, definitely has improved a lot more. I think if I were to keep working the way I was before, I think I would be, I don't know, maybe not here, or I'm 48, so I'll probably look like 60 or something like that, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Because the business, it takes a big toll on you, you know what I mean? Sometimes she asks me, she's like, what do you think about it? And my mind always go into the business, even if I'm at home and waking up, like sometimes I dream about jobs that I got coming up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and those things are, for our health, it's not good because you stress yourself over it.
But would you call it stress though, or is it just something you think about it that way because
it's just
something
the
that
worry.
because you love it? Like,
it's because I love it. It's the worry of I just want to make sure I follow through with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when I started doing business, when I started my own, one of the biggest thing is I knew how things could work, but there's a lot into it. You know what I mean? Like I watch rainstorms. When I do gutters and houses, they have problems. Like I'll take a drive by when it's raining really hard, just to want to make sure everything's working good. Homeowners will call me, hey, well, I have this problem. Hey, is it happening right now? Yeah, it is. Let me go by real quick. So for many years, I did things like that to make sure, because I only have 5th grade education. I don't have nothing else. That's it.
You have the street education. Though.
Well, I have the street education.
I think that is almost more important than the other stuff.
It is, but
yeah.
at sometimes you go with the homeowners, you go with places, and sometimes they want that education because in the world that we live in nowadays, it seems like if you have the education, it makes you better. But you're right, the street education is the most important. And for me, it was like I have the knowledge of doing this thing, but I got to ensure myself that if I'm telling the homeowner this, it's working that way. And it has been, people sending videos People send me photos. People call me to say, hey, Abel, just how you say it was going to work, that's how it's working. So for me, it's a big thing because I might not have a degree in the wall, you know what I mean? It says I went to university, but I have all these homeowners that I've been making happy for the last 20 years. So, you know, that's very important. Like sometimes out of nowhere, like somebody sends us an email and says, look, you're not working in my house, but your crew is working right next to us. And man, you have a crew that is just organized. You know what I mean? And that feels good because you know you're doing something right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they call the office and they say, hey man, your wife, it was so polite on the phone. Like if she's your wife, man, you have a keeper there. So it, you know what I mean? Like it's, people recognize those things. You might not see it individually. I might not see it. I might not tell people that. But when people tell me those things, like, I mean, you know, it's like a big hug you give yourself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I think going back to a little bit to where you said, like, when it's raining, like you're watching the weather and you're driving by to the, like, seeing the gutters, see if they're working and stuff. I think that's just part of, like, mastering your craft. Like, for example, like Erick, like, if he's going to do a great video and the first time he touched the camera all freaking month was right before he's showing up to do a video for your business, then you're like, he's probably not going to be good. He's probably not going to know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So I think it's like kind of the work in silence and let your pretty much.
And you let your craft talk about it. You know what I mean? It is. And sometimes I went through times that, man, I didn't know how these gutters was going to run all this water over there. But I did. You know what I mean? We put a piece of gutter one time, it was 160 feet, 7 inches, and one seamless piece. I had like 10 guys with me, and people was amazed by what you do. Obviously, most people don't do it, but I take the extra step and I say, you know, I gotta have faith on me and my guys. Because if you don't have that yourself, then you don't have anything at the end of the day. You know, faith is what it moves, you know, mountains. And I firmly believe in God, you know what I mean? I'm not a Christian, I'm a Catholic, but I believe in God. Like, I believe He's there, and when you're trying to do good, He might not come and hold you down, but He makes sure that what you believe is there.
I mean, it's like
whatever,
the quote
whatever
that they
goes around comes around. Like, it might not show right now, but you made a little list over here. He's gonna come back and pay you back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the quote that there is, like, you asked Him for strength and He gave you more problems. It's like,
and that's just how it is. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I went through divorce once, and I'm sitting in the parking lot of this place, and I'm like I can't hold it no more. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, you took tears, and God gave you the strength to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it was for me. But you know, it's if you believe in what you believe in yourself, eventually you'll come. You know, people will say sometimes, "Oh, it's not true. God doesn't exist. Oh, this doesn't work." It's just, I always told my kids, I said, look, at the end of the day, we do what is right, and we're trying to stay with that. You know what I mean? And it might not seem to be the way it will go, but if we're doing the right thing, it's like it'll be there. And I truly believe in that, man. I do. I always say is, if we do right by our people, by God, by anybody, you know, customers especially, in our case that we provide a service, I say if we do right by them, if they'll recognize it, they'll come around and they'll say, you know, you did good, and they'll reward you in many things. You know what I mean? I always told the guys this. We were just in Brush, and then one of the guys to say, look how it looks. And I always encourage the crews, like all the crews. I said, look, before you leave a house, picture how it was when you got there. And then picture it, or look at it how it is when you leave. I said, what is the difference? And most of the guys say, it is a big difference. And I always say, look, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to change the narrative of what gutters is about. You know what I mean? Because years ago, I used to talk to people, and they would say, well, what do you do for a living, Abel? And people would say, well, I do gutters. And most people would say, oh, it's just gutters, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that would like like upset me big time, you're right, because it was like, okay, I might not be a lawyer, I might not be a doctor, but it's gutters. So for me, I want to change that narrative. You know what I mean? People say, well, what it makes you a difference, Abel, between other companies? And I say, look, we just not an average gutter guy. We have 5 and 6 is what everybody does. I say, but we have half a round, we have 7 inches. I can custom make you gutters. I can custom make you downspouts. I have a square one. So by the end of the day, I want to be the gutter guy that it has all the shapes of gutters that it can be. And make sure when someone look for it, then I have it for you. You don't have to go shop anywhere else. You know what I mean? So it makes a big difference. We trying to, like I say, I trying to change the narrative of just being a gutter guy. In a truck, you know what I mean, and with one helper, and that's it. I want to change that. I want to be known. I have dreams to be like bigger in our industry. Make sure we make it a big impact. You know what I mean?
What drives you? What drives you to want to like be bigger in the industry?
I think the doubt that people have sometimes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like one time when I worked for this dude and we got in an argument and you know I grabbed my bags and I grabbed a bucket that I had it, and then this guy was very upset at me, and then he said it to me in these words. He says, I want to see who can hire an illegal immigrant. You know what I mean? So
yeah. It should get
I was like, I'll show you, man.
All right, motherfucker. Well, let's see then.
I'm gonna show you that I can. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like and I did since then. You know what I mean? Like the other day I was thinking about it because I was like, man, it just get hard. You know, materials going up, labor going up. You know what I mean? Our profit sometimes is ring, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's ring. So, but when I feel down, I try to remember those words. Mm-hmm. So that drives me to do better. You know what I mean? And I seen that guy a few years later, and he always say,
what'd he say?
Oh, he says, he tells a couple guys one time we were in a place, and he says, oh, Abel knows everything because of me. And for what he does and for what I do, people see that. And one guy said, I know that's not true, Abel.
You can tell him to a point, like, I know everything because you're like,
yeah,
I learned everything.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
I went out
the
there.
Other thing is,
like, that's like with working with like with other people, or like you learn what not to do.
Exactly.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Which is very big because, like you were talking about earlier, it doesn't matter if you have a degree because supposedly you got a degree in doing this, but then you actually go and try to do that job, and compared to a person who's been doing it for 5 years without a degree, you're gonna be worse off because they have that experience in that field already.
That street smart. I'm telling you, that's
real world experience.
Like, you can't go to. I think, you know, there's a lot of people that go to school for stuff and they're like, oh, well, let me just Google it real quick, see what Google tells me. What's gonna happen when there's no fucking Google? When there's no, are you gonna be like, you want your guy putting your gutters on or whatever, checking out a YouTube video how to put these screws in to hold it? Like, no.
Yeah. No, it is. And then, you know, one time I did a job. It's not a it's a townhomes in Greeley, and the guy who was in charge of the townhomes, he was an engineer he went to school and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. This guy was in his late 60s or early 60s, and you know, and then the guy who hired me, the roofer, we decided to do things in a different way than what they was before, just because I thought it was gonna work better, and it actually did. But the person who was in charge of the project at the HOA, he comes and stopped my worker to say, hey, what are you guys doing? But we're doing the gutters and the downspouts. And then like I said, but who decided to do these size downspouts? I said, well, my boss, Abel. I'm up in Rustic Canyon, can't get in no phone reception. The guy called the roofer, and until they completely stop what they're doing, he wants to talk to who makes the decision and all that stuff. So I'm coming down, you know, from the mountains. Like, I got a hold of me and coming down, trying to rush it because I got a crew down here not working, and I got to get it going, you know what I mean? So I get there, and I search some of the stuff sometimes, but more of a knowledge that I had it for being in the field myself. So when I get there, I talk to this guy, you know, here comes this short Mexican, 5'6" in a good day, you know what I mean? And all, dress up like a regular worker, you know what I mean? And then he's like, okay, let me see, what do you figure out to do these downspots in certain spots and certain spots? So I started schooling them down, like, okay, we have about 10 squares of roof here. If you really look at it, and you can look at these books and this and that. So I kind of gave him a rundown of everything I knew, right? And then I take him to one place and I take him to another one. And then, so I have the roofer, him, and then I have like 3 or 4 more guys behind me. And then the guy turns around, like we go into the conversation for about 20, 30 minutes. The guy turns around and looks at me and say, you seem like you know what you're doing. So let's go with that. And then, like that feeling the respect from someone who obviously has more education than me, like it feels good, you know what I mean? So we keep working, and I mean, that guy, after that, he became like best friend, you know what I mean? Every time he sees me, hey, Abel, how you doing, man? You know what I mean? They have the respect for you. They know who you are. They know that you're just not talking just because you think. You're talking because you know.
It's also like that confidence you talk with them with.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
they're like, oh, I kind of did this because I was thinking this. Instead of no, we're doing this because X, Y, and Z. Then luego se mira like la confianza. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not going to trust someone who's...
Yeah, no, and like I was pretty firm. I always like to talk to people straight to their face, look in their eyes. Hey, look, I might not seem that I know, but this is what I know. You know what I mean? And that type of confidence, sometimes it gets you to have the respect. And more than anything, your business will succeed, because people will know. People say, hire Abel. Most people in Greeley and Northern Colorado, they know who C&S is. Not just because C&S, is because of me. Oh yeah, Abel owns it. Abel owns it. You know what I mean? Yeah, call Abel. Like I get phone calls, like we have in our office set up and everything. Most of the calls come through the office, but I get several calls through the day because people just refer me and they got my cell phone number. You know what I mean? And like I can, that's a good feeling, you know what I mean? It feels like you're doing something right.
Yeah.
It takes a long time, but you're doing it right.
Yeah, and that's important what you said. Like, people don't really know the business, but they know you. It's kind of like what we talk about all the time. Like your business brand versus your personal brand. Like, your personal brand's gonna be a lot stronger than just your business brand.
Yeah.
Because people are gonna buy from people they know, not from random businesses.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean. And we stay always behind our work. You know what I mean. If we do something wrong, we'll definitely stay behind our work. I'm not gonna say that we do everything perfect. Because sometimes things fell off the crack, you know what I mean? But we go back, we fix it, we make it right. I always want to make sure the customer is happy in the end of the day. You know what I mean?
What's the most challenging thing you would say managing people? Because, I mean, you got 18 employees. That means you got 18 different personalities in there. Some like you to talk them just straight up to the point. Other ones is like, más suavecito, que no sé. So it's like, how
it is. We try to have meetings once a month, like meet in the shop and everybody is there. And, we kind of go through a quick, 20-minute rundown and all that stuff. It is. You're right. You have to have, they're like my kids. I have to know each one of them individually, where to put him, where not to put him. You know what I mean? Things sometimes come down in the crew, some don't like some, but I have to become as a mediator. Mm-hmm. Because I just want them to understand. I said, look, I'm not putting you with so-and-so just because I want you to have a beef with him. No, because I know how you work and I know how he works. So sometimes you might not like the person you work with, but if you do really good work with each other and succeed in the end of the day, I said, that's good for us. You know what I mean? And I talk to them a lot. I communicate with them. I don't F my guys. I don't tell them the F word. I don't yell at them. I don't throw things at them. I always tell the guys, I said, look, the day that you feel disrespect, you have the right to walk out of here. You don't have to put up with us. Because I don't want that environment, I don't want to be like F this, F that, or be yelling at each other, none of this stuff. I want to have a good flow, like good vibe working around with each other. Because if you have that, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when you have that good vibe going around, things are a lot less stressful for the crew and things can advance a lot farther.
How do you build up like that company culture? That vibe that everybody has?
The family oriented? Well, just talk to them a lot, dude. One of the things my one of the things that my wife bring it up all the time is, she said, when I first met you, she said, you would have the guys go to the gas station. In the morning, they come at 7, they load up the truck. By 7:45, 8, they're out of there. They go to the gas station, they grab something to eat, and they eat it there. And for me, it never has been an issue because I know if they have a full stomach and they're good, they're going to perform a lot better. So my wife always bring that up. She's like, I didn't understand that before, but now she's like, I do understand that. You know what I mean? So we create that ourselves. Like I told him, if it's something that you need, like I can tell when one of my employees isn't needed or something or is down by his attitude, you know what I mean? So in the end of the day, I'm like, hey, are you good? What's going on? What's happening with you? Yeah, you know, is the family good? Well, you know, this and that. Okay, how can I help you? How can we get through this together? You're not by yourself here. You know what I mean? Like we want to make sure you feel warm here. You have people you can trust, and they come around. You know, sometimes they ask for things. We willing to give them the help. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's not even money. It's just someone to talk to, because you know we human beings. We need someone to talk, someone to listen to us, and sometimes it's good to be a listener. You know what I mean? Because people download it on you the heavy weight that they have, and they feel better. And the next day they come and they're like, "Hey man, thanks for the talk. You know, thanks for this, thanks for that." We do Christmas parties, so we do bonus at the end of the year for the guys. It might not be a whole lot, but it's something for us to tell them, "Hey, look, we appreciate what you do." You know what I mean? And I told the guys, I said, "Look, when you want something and you need something, come and talk to us." You know what I mean? We're not strangers to you. I say, I'm not your boss, I'm your coworker. You know what I mean? People come and they say, "Who's the boss around here?" And I don't usually say I'm the boss. You know, I say, "Well, he's not here today." And you know what I mean? Because I don't want that to be like, "Well, I'm the boss, I'm the one who
like they're all scared when they're like around you, because like
no, I don't want that. You know, I want them to feel good. And some customers say, "Well, I want this, I want that."
I think that's the difference too, because you're actually like also doing the work. You're not just sitting in the truck just waiting for the work to get done.
Exactly.
So they see you putting in the work. They're like, "Oh, okay, then yeah."
It's a part of leadership. It's a part of leadership. Like the best way to lead and the only way to lead is to lead by example.
And I always believe in that. You know, if you're gonna tell somebody what to do, you better know how to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like that's what they tell me back home. You know, back in Mexico, my dad told me. You know, there's a lot of things he didn't tell me, but a lot of things that I picked. You know, like you say, things that they do, I don't want to do them. So what did I do to improve myself? And that's one of the things that, you know, they always say is, if you're gonna tell somebody what to do, you better know how to do it. And I told the guys, I said, "Look, sometimes I don't know how to do this thing. What do you have? Can we improve on this? What are your options?" You know what I mean? "Well, I can do it this, I can do it that way." Okay, let's go that route. If the customer likes it, we'll leave it like that.
What challenges have you had in business? Because I mean, you guys been pretty much 21 years. You guys been growing pretty good. What have been some challenges you've had?
I think the employee part is the biggest one. It has been some years that sometimes to create the leads, get the jobs, you know, like a couple years ago, January, February are a slow months of the year. Those months sometimes they get challengeable because guys still come in, they want to make some money, but we don't have much work. So, you know what I mean? Like one year I was down to probably like 4 guys, and you know what I mean? Like I don't want my guys to suffer and have to go look for a job somewhere else, because I know I'm gonna need him later on. You know what I mean? But I think more than anything, the employee part, because you teach someone for so many years, and that person becomes really good at what you taught him to do, and all of a sudden they're like, "Well, I'm gonna go another route," and you're like, "Man, I'm back to square zero." You know, like back to zero again. I have to teach someone else.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the biggest things to how to make sure everybody stays. You know, 3 of the guys that are with me, they're been with me for a long time. One of them for about 16 years, the other one about going to 11, and then another one going to 6 years. So, and those are the leader crew guys. And but like I say, I just want to make sure they're doing good and they're succeeding with me, not just me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to feel like you're just making money for me. I want to make sure we like, okay, we in this together. You go, I go. You sit back, I'll sit back. You know, we went away, we'll wait. You know what I mean? Like it's always that. Like I don't want to be like the monkey on top. You know, everybody say, "Boy, I want to be the monkey on top." No, I know it's hard, and I know what people mean in that concept, but I don't want to ever be looked as a monkey on top. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people, look, I'm just a regular guy, which in the process of providing a service and providing work for people, I get paid a little better on it, but I'm not any better than neither of them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I have to have that humble mind on it, because that's why I sometimes my wife say, well, you don't have to work. I say, no, I know I don't have to work, but I like to work. You know what I mean? So a couple of days out of the week or one day out of the week, I pull my bags and I go help them out to take some gutters down, to clean gutters. You know what I mean? I have my kids too. I take them with me and say, okay, let's go clean gutters. You know what I mean? Like there's a little things here and there that I just want to make sure that I always have it so my kids can see it. You know what I mean? And then more than anything, I want to show my guys, look, maybe I'm the boss, but I haven't forgotten where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? And they like that. They like to see that. They enjoy it, I think.
So where could we expect to see C&S Rain Gutters the next 5 years or 10 years?
Well, hopefully more crews for sure. I'm working on getting some guys ready to take the next step, you know, to be able to lead. We have, like I said, 16 employees, 18. We have 3 crews going every day. I wanted to have, you know, a couple more, little by little if we can, cover more area, be able to provide the service to a bigger extent, you know what I mean? And to make sure people know who C&S is. You know, not just who Abel is, but who C&S is, what can C&S do for them. You know what I mean? Like, if they need a gutter, they can call me in and we'll be there within a heartbeat. You know what I mean? It's one of the hardest problems. One of the hardest things sometimes to do is to have everybody on the same page. I joke around with one of my sales guys, and I told him, you know, he's a single guy. He's 28 today. It's his birthday. And then I'm like, hey, Saturday, we can go to work. We can do a couple estimates. We can do this. We can do that, you know. But being young, you know what I mean? Like, he's after something. And I told him, I said, look, sometimes it doesn't seem to be that way. But if you really want something, you'll go for it. And everything else will come along the way. You know what I mean? My mindset all the time was, I just have to work hard because one day I want to have a wife and kids and want to make sure I provide for them. So for me, the only way to do it was just to get my mind to work. And how can I do more? You know what I mean? How can I bring more in? How can I have a better income? You know what I mean? Yeah, sometimes you have to make sacrifices, you know, for many, many years. Especially us, to be an illegal immigrant, I couldn't leave the country for so long. So I concentrated and just work, you know what I mean? Now it's different, you know, but it takes time. And I think that's one of the things that society we live in nowadays, they want things instantly.
Instant gratification.
You know what I mean? Like right away. Like because you want to know something, you can Google it. And you get the answer within seconds. Mm-hmm. But the answer to succeed is not in a phone. It's not in a computer. It's time that you have to put into it.
Doing the hard. I heard a thing the other day. It says the magic you're looking for is behind the work you're avoiding.
And that's true. You know, I always I went through divorce, and one of my kids, the 19-year-old and the 16-year-old, I always will tell this. And I always say, time will tell. And she likes that phrase. And I say, why do you like it? She said, because within time I have seen what you really try to tell us. And it's true, you know, time will tell. Like if you put your mind into it, you put yourself into something, time will tell. If you're doing it right or if you're doing it wrong. And if you're doing it right, things will come. You know, things will come, and then you'll see it eventually. It's not something that is out of the ordinary, you know what I mean? Sometimes I get up in the morning and we're like, okay, we're a week out, a couple weeks out. okay, but you know, what are we gonna do next week? If you only wait a week out, you know. And sometimes I wake up in the morning and I open my phone and I see a couple emails, you know, 3-4 estimates sign up. You know, there's some big jobs. We got to do one here in Fort Morgan. There's a big job. And so things like that, that's how you can tell that you're doing something right, you know what I mean? Like somebody call and say, hey, well, I got a couple houses I want you to do. I got to call a guy text me this morning. It's like, hey, I need you to go to Granby. I got 4 or 5 jobs up there. You know what I mean? So that's something that is telling you, okay, you keep doing it right. You keep doing it right. Just got to be consistent with it. You know what I mean? And that's what life is about, is being consistent on something that is good for you. And eventually life will reward you. You know what I mean? Sometimes it takes longer than you think, but it will come.
That's awesome. Well, Abel, appreciate it.
No,
Thanks
no
for being
problem.
on.
No, thank you for having me today. It was a pleasure.
Underrated, we know underdogs, underestimated.